Hey, RetconRaider here, and welcome back to Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader. As today, we set our sights on some good old-fashioned cosmic cartography. Though ultimately, of course, our end goal is to clear a path to Telecos Epsilon, so we can retake Janus and get food flowing back to Footfall. That said, of course, we are currently parked on an uncharted system, Trinitos, so we might as well check that out. Oh. And right off the bat, we've got multiple potential space battles. You know, we're not really geared up for serious space combat just yet. But, yeah, let's go for it.
The whispers sound distant. The future is uncertain.
Oh, okay. Okay, started within immediate striking range. That's less than ideal. What's that? Front shield's at half. Right almost completely depleted. We'll drop torpedoes as a distraction. But let's see if we can nuke this guy first.
Make every shot count.
Okay, not bad. Yes, perfect. Looks like we can ramp around behind number one over there. So let's drop torpedoes. That should hopefully distract number three when they come around at us. And then we'll park ourselves on the right side of this ship, force them to fire into our fully shielded side. We won't take them out this turn, but we should get close.
Engage the engines.
Oof. Not great. Whiffed on the lance. And going for our decoy. Huh. Okay. Seems like number one whiffed on us pretty hard too. Dinged up our hull, but that'll buff right out. We'll keep the salvo on distraction duty. While we bring the void ship up and around. Yeah, we just need some distance. We'll do a full bootleg reverse, pull out of range, drop a second salvo.
Coordinates set.
Keep the strong side facing. Torpedoes out. And here we go. Oof. Completely ignored the torpedoes this time. Fair enough. And now you die. Nice. Nice. We've still got the other salvo. Which will fall short, but not for long. That nets us scrap, XP. Repair tutorial. And we pulled Unholy Amulets plus a Styges Pattern Macro Battery. Which is higher damage per shot, but honestly I kind of prefer the Mars pattern. Oh, yes, and let's buff up. Hey, look at that. We actually made a net gain on scrap. That's unexpected. And what the heck, let's go for these other guys too. That first fight went pretty well. Ooh, Eldari. Interesting. I would have expected more chaos. From what I recall, these guys are nimble but relatively fragile torpedo ships, with their most obnoxious feature being those mirror shields, which will drastically reduce our chances of actually landing solid hits. Though I think we can bypass that with torpedoes. Alright, let's get in close. I think these guys only have torpedoes, so we just have to stay out of their arcs.
Helmsman, take us in.
Right, yep, that's what I thought. Yeah. It's basically, no, my torpedoes, I needed those. Oh, shoot, they do have guns. Well, duly noted. But yeah, as you can tell from the visuals, the mirror shield essentially operates like a mirror image spell from Dungeons & Dragons. Every time we whiff a shot, it removes one of those mirror images.
All hands prepare for acceleration. Engage the engines.
You can either just continue bombarding them until you either get lucky or strip off all their images, or you can just nuke them, which is what I'm trying to do, but they are not cooperating. Yes. I mean, really, we're just playing explosive dodgeball. I mean, we will take pot shots here and there, but really, it's just more efficient to lure them into our torpedoes. Nice. Though I am not sure we're going to be able to avoid both of their salvos. Ooh, maybe. That's cutting it pretty close. Yeah, let's go for it. We'll whittle this salvo in passing. And deploy our own salvo. And lance. Total whiff. Fair enough. Though we do have them down to their last ablative image. Nice, nice. And I think we're good. Oh, yeah, that's perfect. We'll just wrap around. And now we just have to wait out the torpedoes. A little silly, but I guess it does make sense. Vicatory!
All clear. Congratulations, Lord Captain.
Which nets us 2 Aeldari trophies, our first rank up, and 30 scrap. Though this one might be a net loss. Oh, no, not even close. I mean, 19 scraps, not exactly breaking the bank, but we will absolutely take it. We've got, what, 2 common abilities? So we'll just shore up our defenses. We'll grab Reinforced Shields and Warp Wave. Both of which are very basic, but very useful defensive powers. I mean, obviously we'll want New Heading and Arc Augury at some point as well. They're just lower priorities for the moment. New Heading before Arc Augury, I think. Maneuverability over range. Oh, and there's our tutorial. Better late than never, I suppose. But we are actually here to see if we can further upgrade our hull. Which we can, but not without depleting most of our scrap, so let's get to scanning. See what sort of resources we can exploit. Oh. Oh. Right. Thank you. Timely resource tutorial.
A natural accumulation of irregularities on a solid planetary surface has been detected. Probability of occurrence of natural materials is high.
Is what I assume the rest of that dialogue bubble said. 7 plasteel. Yeah, I'd say that's worth a mobile extractium. Generally speaking, we do need to be a bit on the frugal side about which ones we're willing to tap this early. But that, I believe, immediately fulfills one of our potential contracts. Yes. Oh, and look at that. It's for Inquisitor Calcazar. What a strange coincidence. A favor. Lord Inquisitor Calcazar's servants have been buying up top-quality plasteel and transporting it to an unknown location. While the nature of the Lord Inquisitor's secretive, grand-scale manufacturing operation remains unknown, the names of those who are assisting him are uttered with great respect. So 5 plasteel for 3 profit factor. And contract complete. With 2 plasteel left over. Let's see what else we've got here. Empty desert world, sure. But that still nets us 50 XP. And burning world, also empty. Slightly disappointing. Let's check the last one. Though this does actually put us 4 planets closer on the 10 we need for Opticon 22. That's easy rep with the Explorator fleet. Oh, snap. This is Foulstone. I thought this place was further space west. Oh man, this is actually a great find. The Monastery of the Order of the Hammer.
Lord Captain, we have received a transmission from Foulstone. It was sent by members of the Order of the Hammer, votaries of St. Cognatius, whose monastery is the only settlement on the planet.
Or rather, it used to be. Some time ago, a transport vessel, the Navica, unloaded several thousand refugees from a planet belonging to rogue trader Winterscale. The Order of the Hammer has judged this invasion to be an act of aggression, and is asking for your lordship's protection. Right. That must be the refugees that Vladaim turned away. I am sympathetic to the Order of the Hammer, but at the same time, we can't let them negatively impact these people's chance of survival. Prep my shuttle. I'll go down and see if I can smooth things over. I'm sure we can nail down whatever is causing this conflict. As it pleases, your lordship. Sector, Coronis Expanse. Region, SSR System. Location, Monastery of St. Cognatius, Foulstone. Material, chronicle compiled by the humble archivist, Brother Petrikos. 11 days after the feast of the passing of Nicodemus Keefe, the champion of faith, disquietude marred the calm of the monastery of the Order of the Hammer. Countless tortured souls steeped in fear arrived on Foulstone in a star bark. A great apostasy had befallen their home and turned them into abject wanderers, seeking help and refuge. Their wicked and cruel captain, the owner of the Navica, had betrayed them. Once the unknowing souls in his care had made landfall on the world's surface, he most deviously recalled his shuttles and left, thus ridding himself of his duty of care to the unfortunate lot. Not knowing how they would survive on Foulstone's grim wastelands, the forsaken people came to the monastery of St. Cognatius, and there they surrounded its walls. They hammered their fists on its gates and implored and wailed, "Take us in! Protect us!" And what once was a place of serenity and grace was now full of din, disorder, and all manner of things despicable. The interlopers brought with them worldly futility and strife, and mayhap also the seeds of alluring blasphemies, if fiendly heathens lurked in their midst. After a prayer, the prelate Hectarchius turned his eye to the past, in search of instruction. Prelate Hectarchius recalled the first missionaries to set foot on Foulstone's vast wasteland, led by their zeal for serving St. Cognatius. And those missionaries had received the blessing of Nicodemus Keefe, the champion of faith who had traveled with them in their star bark, to found in this place a humble and pure abode, wherein to cultivate wisdom and piety. And St. Cognatius, a man of great endeavors, a warrior and wise artificer, never cowered behind the walls of a librarium, but stepped bravely into the darkness, carrying light in the palm of his hand. And he commanded others to do the same. And not only Foulstone, but many other worlds of the Coronis Expanse bear its imprint. And Prelate Hectarchius did welcome the interlopers warmly as his guests, but he did warn his brethren to keep their vigilance. The brethren and sisters of the Order of the Hammer came forth to meet the strangers, carrying water and protein victuals and medicinal herbs and jugs of promethium. But the crowd came to blows over viands, and blood was spilt, and many were trampled or mauled in the stampede, some of them dwellers of the monastery. Then the warriors of the Order of the Hammer donned their flak cowls, inscribed words of praise to the God Emperor on their tactical visors, and went forth, ready to render service in battle. With lasguns and bolters they pierced the interlopers, with their chainswords and power flails they struck them, and a great and bloody harvest was reaped that day. But the interlopers too, scant though their armament was, and scanter their skill in battle, slew many among the monastery's dwellers, for great were their numbers, and greater their desperation. The monks fled beyond their walls, and rang the vox alarum, and shut the gate, and commanded the armed guards to keep watch over that gate, slaying any who approached. A quarrel broke out. The hungry and the sick lay siege to the monastery, begging for help. In their spite, they blocked the water collector and unpowered the generatorium. The faithful, in the meantime, made ready to resist. And a miracle came to pass. The God Emperor sent his champion, his confidant, his right hand, the rogue traitor of the blessed house von Valancius. May the light of his grace remain upon it forever. The blessed rogue traitor. I think they actually trimmed this event down from Alpha. Summoned Prelate Hectarchius and the leaders of the interlopers to hold each to account for their deeds. The strangers, prodigious in number, beseech the rogue traitor to take them in and give them shelter and protection as to his own servants. And spake they, saying, Long have we wandered, swiftly have we fled. Many a woe and ordeal has befallen us. Of many a father and son are we bereft. Now the warp hath taken the last of our strength, and we shall flee no more. And they spake further, saying, Without thy holy protection we are doomed, for we fear annihilation at the hands of our kin who remained behind. For, having fallen away from the sublime light of the Emperor, they have descended into bloody sedition, and become murderers of no mercy. Quoth Prelate Hectarchius,
Ours is a pure and secluded abode. By worldly futility we are untouched, and so we wish to remain. These unknowing souls seek to capture our abode. Avert this calamity of ours, for they are a people malicious, and multitudinous, and misfated.
Then quoth he,
If it be thy wish to confer land upon these wretches, confer it, for Foulstone has arid land in abundance. But make it not our duty to care for them, for that is not our path. Provide for them and provide for us, and we shall acknowledge thee as our planetary sovereign.
The blessed rogue trader found it very difficult to parse out his options, because the sound of his voice had attracted Ellie, and she had sat down directly in front of his screen. But in the end, there was really no question. Everyone seemed happy with living together as long as they didn't have to take care of each other. So the rogue trader extended a veil of protection over the interlopers, taking them into his care, and thereby all of Foulstone with them. Humbly, the Order of the Hammer heeded the God Emperor's confidant, and unsealed the airlocks, and opened the gate of its abode, and brought forth gifts of virtue to relieve the suffering of the ill-stricken. After a prayer, the architects set to work. In accordance with the saints' teachings and the parameters set forth in the standard template construct, they erected spacious living quarters and sturdy fort walls for the planetary militia, and a spacious auditorium wherein to trade and store goods, and a proud sensorum within whose walls clerks and servo bondsmen would maintain order and keep statistical records. And a new yet righteous way of life came to Foulstone, and the people rejoiced, and all was good. We also pulled a whole +5 iconoclast from that, which feels a little frugal for founding an entire new civilization, but we'll take it. Plus, we did get a whole planet, so I guess I can't really complain. Not that there's really much we can do with it right now anyway. We're just laying our foundation. And at the moment, we are limited to just these 3 basic projects. Each of which has a slightly different narrative flavor, lines up with a slightly different faction or sub-faction, and comes with its own slightly different reward, as well as potential costs long-term, since some can result in locking out other future options. That's it. Give me a moment whilst I go over our options here. I mean, obviously, we'll almost certainly go for the third option. That's the one that makes the most sense for someone like Valen, but gotta do my due diligence. A lot has changed since Alpha. Right back. And we're back. Yeah, we're gonna go with the third one. It just makes the most sense. That nets us a plus 30% boost to our rear shields, as well as a comparatively modest assortment of other rewards. Holy Gifts, Profit Factor, and Complacency, which is kind of a double-edged sword. That also increases Profit Factor, but at the cost of overall colony efficiency. From a narrative standpoint, I just figured, you know, the Order of the Hammer was already here. This was technically their planet before they ceded it to us. Just wouldn't feel right to dilute or displace them by inviting in the worshippers of St. Drusus or the Ecclesiarchy as a whole. Besides, this way we also get a statue, so, you know, Celestial Protector it is. And we can also now preview other potential projects that we can pursue in the future. Though, as aforementioned, there are some projects that we simply won't be able to pursue based on our previous or future choices, both in and outside of colony building. But, you know, we'll worry about that a bit later down the line. That's just number 1 of 5 potential colonies we can collect over time. So we're barely even scratching the surface just yet. I am glad to see that they finally added a remote colony management function, though. That was definitely one of my pet peeves back in Alpha. You actually had to physically visit the planets just to access the management screen. Oh wow, we are nowhere near as far along with Iconoclast as I thought we were. 80 of 200 before we lock in at rank 3. We'll really have to buckle down on that. I have received multiple warnings that if you don't focus hard enough, you'll close yourself out to a lot of late-game options. Not just for Iconoclast, but for all 3 of the doctrines in general. Anyway, path is now clear to Telecos Prime, but I don't want to risk triggering a combat encounter this late in the episode, so let's pop into our bridge. Knock out another one of those queued conversations. Oh, and I suppose we can also check with Danrock. See if that +5 profit factor nets us any new toys. Danrock, I've come to bargain. Oh, and there we go. A portative manipulator. -1 AP on reload. Not the most exciting thing in the world, but we'll take it. We also grabbed a telepath staff, no big deal. I do recall using the Vision of Death ability back in Alpha. Wasn't really a fan. And nothing from the pirates. Oh, snap, but we do get something from the Navy. The Mars Pattern Prow Battery. A front-mount macro cannon. Interesting. Obviously not much to look at stat-wise, but I could see the appeal to essentially lining your entire ship with macro cannon batteries. Alright, let's chat someone up. And I suppose we should stay focused on the ones that actually have quests for us. So yeah, let's chat up Jay. See what her deal is.
Allow me to thank you again for helping me with the cargo, Sherin. I am sure the Ashmags who squirreled away my goods won't give up so easily, and I'll hear more about their scheming yet. Let's strike a deal, Sherin. I will watch your back, if you do me a favor and watch mine. Well, enough jokes. Is there something you wanted?
The woman laughs melodically, then smiles broadly, showing her pearly teeth. I believe you had a proposal for me? We've got some downtime before we hit Telecos Prime. Let's hear it.
Oh, Sherin, I did manage to spark your interest. Allow me to invite you to a more private place. My words are meant for your ears alone.
Jay's face lights up with an enchanting smile. And once again, no voice acting. That is a bummer. The flickering light of dozens of candles plays across Jay's face, making her small smile appear even more mysterious. Shireen, the Exalted One himself brought us together the day you crossed Flademe's threshold. He led us to the cargo and gave his blessings for its return. Do you know what people on my world say when such a thing happens? What's gained is to be shared with your neighbor. She points at the containers in front of her. One contains a polished Eldari rifle, a rare model, and the other holds an ornate sword. I am sharing what I've gained with you. Please accept these humble gifts in honor of our wildly successful, though suddenly struck, friendship. Ooh. Wanderer's Portent. And Bloodseeker Clave. Very nice. Well now, this is certainly a step in the right direction. And here I was thinking you were just going to coast on vague promises of contacts and wisdom. A fine gift. Thank you. I'll put them to good use. I knew you would appreciate the Xeno's mastery of their craft. Jay beams at you, curling a lock of black hair around an augmented finger. After a brief pause, she awkwardly continues. So, the matter I wanted to discuss with you is related to my business. You know that I sell Xeno artifacts to interested Imperial subjects, and Imperial trinkets to Xenos. Business is going well. My network runs even without my participation. But when it comes to expansion, well, that is where I hit a wall. Rivals, envious of my success. Jay throws up her hands. Falco especially. I am certain the theft of the cargo was his doing. But I can never predict what that Ashmag will do next. And while the Imperium's authority may be fragmented in the Expanse, it could crack down on people of my profession at any moment. Okay, I'm with you so far. Please continue. If the rogue trader put in a good word for me with the servants of the Adeptus Administratum, I could become an official trade representative of the Imperium. Just imagine it. A little scrap of paper will offer me and my agents protection against Ashmag schemes, far better than any refractor field. And even the Inquisition will have to think twice before they mess with me, because I'll be a representative of the law in my own right. And the best part of all is that this will cost you precisely nothing, Shireen. All you have to do is stop by the Administratum Palace and obtain a certificate from the Master of Seals. My informants tell me that the palace is located on Dargonis, your capital world. You see how everything has aligned so wonderfully? And of course I will repay you in kind. Well, I would certainly hope so. But the real question is, what exactly would I get out of all this? Besides being in receipt of my eternal gratitude, Shireen. Jay playfully raises a brow. Won't it be beneficial to have someone in your retinue with a weight of authority behind them, rather than just another pawn? One slip of paper and I will be able to extend my networks to systems far beyond footfall. My agents will be your eyes and ears throughout the Expanse. You make a compelling argument. Very well, I'll take care of it. Exalted One bless you, Shireen. I couldn't find a better business partner in all the Expanse. Jay ponders for a moment and then graces you with a dazzling smile. Friendship is a gift from the Exalted One, and we must cherish it. And you will have no complaints about our friendship, Shireen. I may not be a trade representative of the Imperium just yet, but I can still help you with whatever you need. You must have some faction in mind that you would like to establish relations with? The severe Drusians? The hot-headed pirates of the Caspalica? You merely need to use the right words, like a key for a lock, and the people will open their hearts to you. Or their wallets. I will arrange everything. You merely have to ask. Ooh, okay. Explorators are primary, but they're pretty easy to bump up, so let's go Kaspolika. Even those numbers out a bit. Not a problem, Shireen. I will have my people put in a good word for you in the right circles. Plus 2,000 rep, not bad. Might actually bump us up a rank, I'll have to double check. I will humbly wait until you steer your vessel toward Dargonis. The Mersatum Tabula Officiale. It sounds almost as majestic as the Warrant of Trade. And conversation complete. Which nets us a new quest. Oh, and look at that. We are right on the cusp of finishing Opticon's thing, too. Perfect timing. We have to head back to Footfall anyway, right after we're done with Janus. Wanderer's Portent. 30 dodge reduction, plus 20 to hit. Can only perform Deadeye attacks. Whenever it scores a critical hit with a single shot, the wielder gains an additional attack. That is pretty fantastic. Though slightly misleading, because if you can only use Deadeye shot, that means you would need a full 4 action points to actually take advantage of that extra attack. Unless you have other means of mitigating the attack cost. And then the Bloodseeker Clave, which has a larger cleave attack. Oh, and it's one-handed. Okay, well that is actually the highlight there. I believe claves are normally two-handers. That's not bad at all, though the downside is that as a Drukhari weapon, we would have to take a proficiency talent for it. Though it might be worth doing. I might toss that to Abelard. Ah. And then for Kaspolika, we're 920 points short of our next rank. Fair enough. I can probably cover that with the cargo we collected during that last fight, but I'm just not sure it's worth it yet. I'll have to check that off screen. That said, I think we're at a good stopping point. We cleared out Trinitos, we had a couple of space battles, we claimed our first colony. That was an unexpected surprise. Not to mention, of course, we got Jay's thing moving, and collected a very nice rifle in the process. We'll definitely get some use out of that thing, I'm just not sure who we're giving it to just yet. I'll have to give that some thought. Since, obviously, if we do it with Valen, we'll have to burn a talent slot on it. That said, we'll hit the pause button for now. I'll take care of the usual off-screen bookkeeping. And we will pick up here next time, as we head for Telecos Epsilon and help Janus take care of its growing problems. See you then. Oh, and special thanks to the Raiders, the fine folks who help make these videos possible, including but not limited to Revenant, Alois, CrowkingLoR, Dragon Matrix 7, Drakiith, ErieV23, EgonAlter, Exsellsior, Gottlieb, James Trimmier, Kazorm, Mark Giemza, Nathan Welch Jr., OverlordPherom, RandomPassrby, RobbyB, Tomasz Piątkowski, Triphoppenskip, and Valinrook. Thanks for your support, guys. That said, if you'd also like to help support the channel, then feel free to push the buttons that do the things. Trust me, it does make a difference. Or you could even check out the PayPal, the Patreon, the Nexus GG, or the YouTube memberships. Links are in the description.
Well, enough jokes. Is there something you wanted?